Hi, I'm Gary McIntire. I am the proprietor here at Collins Coupe, and today we're talking about bitters. So originally bitters were used as medicine, and actually still can be used for medicinal purposes. Put a little bitters in soda water and it'll settle your stomach right down. Just think of bitters like herbs and spices for your cocktail. Just like you would throw herbs and spices into your soup, you can throw them into a drink, and it's going to increase the complexity and flavor of what you're drinking. If you think about it, the ingredients that are in bitters, you know, all those bittering agents like ginger, gentian, cassia, those are all really great ingredients for settling your stomach and digestive aid. So just like there are a lot of potable bitters out there, like Amaros, Fernets, even your Camparis and Aperols, those are great, you know, digestifs or aperitifs. Bitters are really a more concentrated version of those that have even more herbs and spices and things in them. And not all bitters are actually bitter. We actually use the term bitters to refer to any kind of cocktail additive that is in sort of tincture form, right? Really, they're all tinctures. And we just assign the word bitters to them because the original category of bitters, being aromatic bitters, are going to have a lot of bitter agents in them. There are a lot of other varieties of bitters out there. There's spicy bitters, there are citrus bitters, there are lots of bitters blends, but also single ingredient bitters like grapefruit or cardamom. Those are really technically, like I said, just tinctures, but we call them bitters. I think any cocktail could use bitters in it. It really just kind of depends on what bitters we're going to use. So let's say you're doing a French 75. That's a gin cocktail. I would put a brighter bitters into there, like a citrus bitters maybe, like lime bitters or orange bitters even. Cardamom bitters go great with gin. Versus your classic, old fashioned is going to have an aromatic bitters. An aromatic is sort of like a subcategory of bitters. They're all, and that's really where the name bitters comes from, because they're using bitter herbs and roots in those. There used to be hundreds of different brands of bitters, and then sometime in the late 50s, early 60s, they sort of started to peter off, and there were only a few brands that kind of continued. Angostura, of course, being one of them. As we moved sort of through the 70s and 80s, which were a terrible time for cocktails, to be quite honest, and into the late 90s, we started to see sort of a resurgence of craft cocktails. And along with that, as bartenders started to get more and more interested in the history of cocktails, they started finding these old bitters recipes and started making their own. And small bitters companies started to spring up. And now there are, again, hundreds of bitters to choose from, which is really great. We're in a second bitters renaissance, I would say. So here at Collins Coupe, we're trying to have the largest bitters selection in San Diego. I think we've surpassed that quite easily now. But also, we're trying to have a very well curated selection. I've got bitters from New Orleans, Boulder, San Francisco, San Diego, Vancouver, Seattle. So they come from all over the place, and whenever possible, I'd like to try and meet the people that are making them, because I think it's important to get the stories and behind what goes in the bottle and meet the people that are making the things that we consume.